Psychology and biology are intrinsically related. So when we talk about well-being, it's important to understand the nervous system as it plays a critical role in every aspect of our health and well-being. How does our nervous system respond to stress? So when we are in a stressful or dangerous situation, the sympathetic nervous system will activate and it will stimulate the release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol into the bloodstream, signaling the stress response. Then we will experience all the associated physiological symptoms of stress like high blood pressure, elevated heart rate. So there are actually 4 different types of stress responses. So we have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. The fight response occurs when the body copes with the threat aggressively. So the associated behavior can be an intense feeling of anger, wanting to attack others or oneself, yelling, raising the voice, or a desire to stomp, kick, or punch. The flight response is when we are running away from the stress. Signs that we are on a flight response include physically leaving a situation, feeling trapped, anxious, shallow breathing, fidgety, panicky. So sometimes leaving a stressful situation or dangerous situation is the best thing we can do, but others think it's important to be able to process and manage difficult and complex emotions that might come from uncertainty or experiencing trauma. So they say that pain is unavoidable and suffering is optional. So suffering really comes from that, from avoiding those difficult emotions really. So when we realize that our job is to process those difficult and complex emotions, it's going to be a lot easier to return to that regulated state when we can grow and evolve. Freeze is your body's way to shut down. It's like playing dead when you're being hunted. People resort to this response when they feel that fighting and fleeing isn't an option. So the associated body response will be a decrease in heart rate, feeling numbed and confused, having trouble speaking, or not being able to take action or make a decision. The last response, fawn, comes after unsuccessful fight, flight, and flee and freeze response. So it's when the body feels safer to be submissive and obedient than fighting or fleeing or freezing when faced with danger. This response causes someone to please something or somebody else than oneself. The signs that the fawn response is activated include things like having difficulty saying no, people pleasing, or not being able to set boundaries, or pretending to agree with someone. So these stress responses are part of our survival instincts when our ancestors were faced with predators, but in modern days they help us enormously to cope with stress or perform under pressure. The problem can be when we experience chronic stress. These stress responses might be overactivated, even when there is not a real threat or danger, which can lead into anxiety disorders and other negative outcomes. So how to cope? Awareness is key. A well-regulated nervous system is one of the most important things to maintain well-being. And understanding and identifying the stress response when it happens is paramount to bring our body back into regulation, into that safety and security that we all need. And when we are in a well-regulated state, the time to bounce back from that stress response becomes shorter. And we also develop the ability to deepen our connection with our creativity, intuition, helping us bring our visions to life. So the thing is that we all go through these different states. And when there's an overactivation of the stress response, there's also a belief system that gets activated, like, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. These are limiting beliefs that will get further reinforced when we're in survival mode, when we're feeling unsafe, needing to have that stress response. So where do limiting beliefs come from? Most of them are developed subconsciously from our family values and beliefs, from societal and media expectations, from life experiences or education. For example, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. My idea is not good enough. I'm a bad person. I'm unlovable. I'm a bad friend. I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad wife. I'm not successful enough at work. I'm failing at everything. I'm not slim enough. I'm not pretty enough. My skin is not good enough. And the list goes on. So my biggest learning has been to realize that we are good enough as we are. That it's not worth comparing ourselves to others, because we all have unique traits and features that set us apart and make us special and then make us who we are. We are told, however, that we should not be too proud of ourselves, otherwise we might be perceived as arrogant or not humble enough. But the truth is that acknowledging who we are naturally and accepting our true self with love and compassion can bring a lot of peace, freedom, creativity, and confidence in our own abilities and persona. If we are in a dysregulated state, it's going to be a lot easier for those limiting beliefs to come up. So it's very important that we are aware of the limiting beliefs when they come up, so we can consciously challenge them. So it's really important that we take conscious control of the nervous system to discharge the buildup of stress and tension that comes with leading busy lives. To come back to a place of rest, of connection, of peace and resourcefulness and creativity to support who we need to be for our visions to come to life. So we all can do this through breath work, practicing relaxation, conscious living, deactivating the autopilot and connecting with the present moment and with what we need. Starting with breathwork and relaxation, it gives you a direct experience for healing and transformation. It's a conscious and connected breathing technique that supports you to improve your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being through accessing non-ordinary states of consciousness. So when you are in those states, the activity in your cortex or default network decreases, which is the part of the brain responsible for mind wandering or rumination. Breath work and relaxation activates the parasympathetic system that signals to the body that it's safe to go back into rest and digest for the stress response to shut down.